You are now listening to the Pelicans Post Game Report. Flash Report.
Yo, what up, people? So, I have finally gotten over my hangover in the in-season semifinals loss to the Lakers. I know, it's bad. Okay, sort of. I don't know. But I'm cleared. I am cleared. And I'm ready to talk Pelicans basketball. But before we do that, shout out to PPR, Big Q in DC. I am Lexxah Drew, a contributor for the PPR podcast team. Kudos to all the listeners. Appreciate y'all tuning in. So, the Pelicans have won 4 straight since that atrocious, depressing, awful, any other word you can think of along those lines, loss against the Lakers. The Pels have since beat the T-Wolves, the Wizards, the Hornets, and the Spurs, and hopefully adding a 5th straight win against the Grizzlies. But although the Pels are on a nice winning streak, it's important that fans don't get too high on the streak, because it is to be expected. We should expect to win against way below 500 teams, for those who didn't know. And I'm not getting excited about that. I like to think that there's a standard that is upheld when beating teams like this. And that's really comprehending the bigger picture for the Pelicans. We have to continue to remember that the Pelicans have not won anything. Zion Williamson has said this many times. The Pelicans have not obtained the respect around the league, being a legitimate threat. The Pelicans are not in the discussions of being a legitimate playoff contender. And as of right now, the Pelicans don't have the ability to play on big stages when the lights are brightest. You know, I mean, and this is according to the world. Outsiders say the Pels don't have it. They don't have it. And, you know, obviously we know the situation with Draymond Green, but I'm still not letting go of what Draymond Green said about this team. We ain't built like that. I have a great issue with that statement right there. And I'd like to think that the Pelicans would have an issue with that statement. Like, it fuels them to prove that, hey, we are built like that. But as of right now, the Pelicans are not consistent enough. So, as you can see, the Pels have a whole lot to prove to the world and themselves. Not to mention the fan base. The biggest thing is, what is the goal that this team is trying to accomplish? Let me tell you something. I ain't trying to be no borderline playing team. That playing junk has gotten old, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Like, Zion Williamson has continuously said that the Pels want to be a playoff contender. And I believe they can and will. I think it's the win, W-H-E-N. I think it's that part that has that question mark. But it's going to be a lot of work. This isn't going to be an easy feat. This isn't going to be a walk in the park. The Pels have to get rid of that laid back attitude. That mellow attitude is not what's up. It really isn't. That dog won't hunt. If this team is to first make the playoffs and perform at a high level in a 7-game series and so on and so forth in each round, if they are to make it that far. The team has to get to the point where they are playing with a chip on their shoulder and the chip never leaves their shoulder. Gotta adopt playing with the edge. Every practice and every game day. Sometimes I feel like the mentality of this team is collectively small-minded. And I'm not trying to be belittling or down in the team or anything, But the mentality of what this team can be, it's not big enough. At least sometimes it seems that way. I mean, after all, actions do speak louder than words. And not just the team, but the organization. We definitely have to see a larger sample size of high energy play, because this thing right here is a marathon, and it most definitely won't be given to the Pels. They got to earn this thing. They got to work for this. They got to prove themselves. I mean, the disrespect for this team is real. I've mentioned this in past, shows. Pelicans haven't truly been battle tested, displaying the mental fortitude to compete with the upper echelon teams in the league. It's an air, a confidence, and not just knowing how to win, but knowing how to win, if that makes sense. Pels got to continue to win games that they're expected to win, and win games when there's a low probability of winning. Those teams with the high win percentages, no matter who they face, is where the Pels want to be. That's the level of respect this team needs to get to. And they can get there. It's just discipline and focus. Henceforth, that's why they had that players only meeting during that 5-game losing streak. And staying focused on the big picture. Look, if the goal is celebrating this winning streak or beating below 500 teams, then the standard for this team is low. I'd like to think this team has a higher calling to play and succeed at a higher level. Playing basketball at a higher level. At the highest level. And it's still early, but the Pelicans do have an opportunity to make a jump this month to boost confidence, greatly improve chemistry, elevate level of play and performance, rack up these wins, and by the end of this month, be a top 4 seed in the West. It's very feasible, very attainable. Every game is prime time. That's how this team needs to think. Every game is prime time. Treat it like that. Because it's not about that game. It's not about the now. It's about the bigger picture. It's about the light at the end of the tunnel. Speaking of prime time, that game on December 31st, Pelicans got a score to settle and seek revenge to gain somewhat of their honor. And yes, it's that serious. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go check the schedule. Go check the schedule to see who we play on that day. But that's all I got for y'all. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I didn't get into specifics, but tell me in the comments what you feel the bigger picture is for the Pelicans. I am Lexxah Drew, and I'm out, y'all.
Subscribe now and stay up to date for all things New Orleans Pelicans.